Hey everyone, and welcome to the Stitch Sessions. We have another fantastic tutorial for you today. We are going to be showing you how to make a shoe bag. And the shoe bag in question looks like this. So we have used a nylon fiber type of yarn. It's the Bernat Home Deck yarn, and it's nylon and polyester, I think, blend. I'll double check that. And it's really sturdy. It's fantastic for making bags. And being a dancer and carrying dance shoes all the time, I've come up with this great little way to create a durable shoe bag. So it's got handles so you can carry it nice and easily. And I've also created this cinch top at the top, and I've just used a little bit of ribbon there to do it with. So super easy to make. And you can do it in any fun color you like, and I added some embellishments here. So let's just get started on this fun project. See you at the table. Okay, in order to make our shoe bag, we are going to need about 275 grams of this nylon-based yarn. So in this particular example, I had used 3 100-gram balls. In fact, I didn't use the full third one. So that's why, and there's a little bit of it left here, that's why I'm saying approximately 275 grams. So I've gone out and gotten these larger balls here that are 250 grams. So I'm going to do this next shoe bag a little bit different in the colorway. So I've got these different colors here. But for the bag itself, especially for the width and everything, definitely just under 300 grams will do it for you, and that includes going up to the handles and everything. So let's get started. For this project, these yarns are calling for an 8mm hook with this. I used a 6mm hook for this because I wanted the stitches to be a little bit tighter and snug. So this is the Bernat Maker, the Home Deck line. It is 72% cotton and 28% nylon, which is great because, you know, shoe bags get bumped around and thrown around a lot, so you can just throw this in a wash. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a variety of colors, of these colors in this next bag I'm doing, and I want to use my leftovers of this gray from the previous bag. So I am going to use this for the base of my bag. So I'm just going to unravel this here and get these kind of out of the way to give me room. And as always, you'll need a pair of scissors, and for much later on, you'll need a darning needle. Okay? Okay. So we'll start with our slip knot. And so we're going to create a foundation chain row of 36 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. So these are my 36 chains. Now, I wasn't too worried about chaining these a little looser because this is going to be the base of my bag. I actually kind of want the stitches to be a little bit snug because we're going to work into both the top and the bottom of these initial 36 stitches. So I just take my bag here, and it is the same width. Now I can feel that this is a little bit more snug because I stitched probably a little bit tighter than I did before, but once we start working into that, it will expand a wee bit there. So this bag, the width, this is an average width of a shoe bag that, you know, for dancers anyway. I took these measurements from a shoe bag I already had. So this is approximately 10.5 inches wide. So my current chain, so that's 10.5 inches, or about 27 centimeters. So this chain is showing as 10 inches. And again, that's because it was stitched a bit tight. But as we work into each stitch, that will loosen up. So now we are going to do single crochets for this initial base of the bag. So we need to chain 1 to get started. And now in the second chain from the hook, we're going to do a single crochet. Okay. And then we are going to do a single crochet into the next stitch. And the next one. And that's what we're going to do for this whole row here. Into each and every chain, we're going to do a single crochet. So you would insert, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both. Okay, so you can see that this stretches quite a bit, and it's starting to expand already. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to continue and do my row here, and I will meet you once we get to the 36th chain. Okay, I'm coming up to my last 2 stitches here. So I have stitch 35 and 36. Remember not to confuse your slip knot with a stitch. Okay, and don't worry, you see this effect is starting to curl, all that stuff, that is totally normal. So I currently have my foundation row of 36 stitches. But instead of turning our work, we're actually going to continue to work around and along the bottom here. So again, this is the base of our bag. So as we come around here, what we're going to do is into this last stitch that we did a single crochet into, we are going to do 2 more single crochets into this stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook again, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. And then one more time, insert, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. And you'll see that it naturally starts to curve around the side here. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and work over my short tails. Some people like to weave it in afterwards. I just like to work over it as I go. So that's what I'm going to do. But you can do whatever is most comfortable for you. If you find it distracting to think about the tail right now, then just leave it to the end. Okay, so now we've come around the corner there. So now we've added an extra 2 stitches to our stitch count. So now we currently have 38 stitches going. So now we're going to come along the bottom here, and we're just going to single crochet into the bottom of these stitches. So here's where the top was, and now we're at the bottom. So the next stitch will fall right here. See where this curve is? That is the bottom of this single crochet there. So we just insert our hook, yarn over there, pull through, yarn over, and then pull through 2 like you would a normal single crochet. So it's just curving around very nicely. We'll go into the next stitch, which is right there, pull through, and yarn over, pull through. And I'm just keeping that tail down so I can work it in as I go. Insert again, and insert, and that's it. And we do this all the way down till we get to the end of this side, which would technically be the beginning of where we started. So I'm going to continue on and work my row, and I will meet you back here when I'm done. Okay, I'm coming up to the end here of my base, so you can see it's really taking shape here. So I'm at 33, 34, And I want to do one more here into the same stitch, pull through, yarn over. So now you can see it's coming up around the bend. Usually we would have slip stitched at the end here and started a new row, but because we're going to be working in the spiral round to create our bag, we are not going to use any slip stitches. We don't want to have a seam as well. So we're just going to continue on working into the next stitch. But now you should be aware that every round all the way now has 76 stitches. So you had 36 initial stitches plus an additional 2 to come around the corner, 36 coming back, and then an additional 2 into the last one. So if it makes you feel comfortable, you can put a stitch marker here at the bottom, a little safety pin or another colored yarn, so you know where the beginning and end of each round is. But at this point when we're working the bag up, it doesn't really matter. You just keep working into the next round. So in this case, we are going to do 4 more rounds. Is it 4 more rounds? Sorry, it's going to be 4 rounds in total. So we've already done 1. We're going to do an additional 3 rounds of single crochets all the way around. And then we're going to change to half double crochets. So we're just going to continue on. There's no slip stitch going on here. You are just going to work directly into that next stitch. Insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And you can see that we're just kind of melding right away into the next round. So single crochet into each and every single stitch all the way around. And we're going to do that 3 more rounds, which will give us a total of 4 rounds altogether. And don't panic. See how that's happening? Totally normal. And in fact, at some point, we do want it to curl up as our work continues to grow. So don't panic, don't worry if it starts to curl a bit. It's all very normal. So I'm going to continue on with my additional 3 rows, and I will meet you back when we're ready to change to half double crochets. Okay, so I've actually run out of this gray yarn before I've been able to finish the 4 rows. So I have, I guess you could say 3.5 rows. So this is the beginning of a 4th row, but I ran out of that bit of yarn I had. So I'm just going to attach my new color, and luckily it's kind of at the side here. I mean, if it weren't, it wasn't a big deal, but it's kind of nice when it looks a little bit even. So you'll notice, see, it's curling a lot, it's coming in a bit, and that's totally normal because we only did increases on each end for 1 row. As you work more rows, your work naturally does want to curl up. Now, as we build the rows up, this curl will kind of even out a little bit so that it will eventually sit nice and flat like that. I just love how this one turned out. So basically we're at the bottom here. So we're doing this portion here. Now see how this is stretched out now that we've worked some stitches into it? It almost feels like it's a touch wider than this one even. But again, as you work through more stitches, all of that stuff will come out. Will work its way out. Okay, so we're going to do the join the yarn method, which I believe we've linked a tutorial to in our uploads, but we're going to put a link there in the bottom in the description box. We'll put a link in the description box below just in case you need a little refresher or want something a little bit more focused on that. So basically what I'm doing is I'm tying a knot with my new color onto the gray. Then I take the end of the gray and I tie that one onto the new color, which in this case happens to be this fabulous aqua turquoisey greeny blue color, one of my favorites. And then you just cinch it tight like that, and then you just take the 2 long ends and you pull, and it just locks it in there. See, it's not going anywhere. So I am now just going to snip off these little ends here, and you can get nice and close here. And don't worry, it will not come undone. That's why they call this the magic join. It just magically, something about those two knots coming together just really sticks into place, so you can get nice and close. Oops, trying to get the light in there. And there you have it. Okay, so now we just continue on with our work. So I just pick up that last loop I was working on, and I continue to single crochet into each and every stitch going around the bend there. And there we go. So I'm going to go into using my new color now. Oh, sometimes it gets a little fiddly in these corners here. And pull through. And there you go. That little knot just gets hidden in there. Sometimes I can even tuck it in. And then you just keep on going, and there's our new color join. So I am gonna just continue doing my single crochets just to finish off 4 full rounds. And then we will start working on the half double crochets. And we will also link our half double crochet tutorial in the description box below as well, in case you just need a little extra brush up, but we will go nice and slow here as well. So there we go. We now have our new color. Look at how cool that's looking. Love that. So just go ahead until you get to the end, and then we will continue on with our half double crochets. Okay, and I'm back. So we've finished our 4th row now, which is in our new color. And for this project, I just want to start a new stitches in the side. So in the other project, I just basically kept going until I ran out of yarn. So you can see on this side where I ran out of yarn, I just continued. Now I could have just snipped off and attached new yarn in the corner so it wouldn't show, but I just thought it was kind of a little bit wasteful if it was just that little snippet, so it didn't really matter to me, and this one was for me anyway. So in this case, it actually worked out perfect that it ended up being in the side. Okay, we're going to start now using half double crochets. Now I like this particular stitch for the bags because it's like a little bit of a fatter stitch. It's chunkier. It just kind of sits nicely, and it doesn't leave as many gapes, holes, I guess you'd call them. I don't know if you'd call them holes, but you know what I mean. So I really like that. There are actually a few other stitches I will try as well in these shoe bags, but for now, I'm just going to keep it nice and consistent. This is a super easy project, and I thought it would be good just to keep it straightforward with all the same stitches. So half double crochet it is. We will go to a double crochet when we start talking about these little eyelets here for the sash, but that's only a couple of rows, so we'll talk about that when we get there. So a half double crochet. Now don't be afraid to turn this out just in the beginning so you can see what you're doing. With a half double crochet, you're going to yarn over and then insert the hook, just like you would do a double. You would yarn over here, pull through, so you have 3 loops on the hook. With a half double, what we do is we yarn over and we pull through all 3 to resolve the stitch. So when we're doing a double, we would pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through the other 2. With this one, we pull through immediately. So we'll do that again. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over there, pull through, 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3. See how it's a little bit taller already? So the single crochet is the shortest stitch, well, taller than the slip stitch, but that's the shortest stitch. Then the half double crochet is the next size up. So that's why you'll see that kind of going. Actually, it's kind of neat. Okay, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And you're now set to just continue on. And you are now all set. You are armed with everything you need to know to make this bag. You're simply going to do a half double crochet into each and every single stitch for rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds. And actually I should double check, but I think I ended up doing approximately 60, whoops, I think I ended up doing 60 some odd rows or rounds, but don't quote me on that. Let me just actually double check that before I give you the wrong info. I do stand corrected. It was 38 rows from the end of the single crochets. So here I had 4 rows of single crochets, and the rest were all half double crochets. So there was 38 rows of half double crochets. Now, what I'm going to do for this bag is a little bit different. Here I use 3 colors, and granted, this is one color, but the main body of the bag is going to be 2 main colors. So I have this aqua color here, and then I'm going to finish off, I think, with this nice lemon yellow. So I will probably go further up the bag with the same color. So I think we're going to do something like 28 rows of all the same color, and then we'll change and continue to finish the other 10 rows. So for now, we're going to work 28 rows of half double crochets in this color. And in fact, it's actually 27 and a half, because remember, we ran out of this yarn 3.5 rows in of the single crochets. If that sounds confusing to you, don't worry about it. Just do rows and rows and rows until you get to what you think is 28 rows of half double crochets. And then we will pick it up from there and continue on. Okay, so I've actually decided to stop at row 26 of my bag and now introduce my yellow color. So what I'm going to do here is I will actually snip off my yarn here, and I'm going to do a magic join. So I'm not going to close off this stitch. What I am going to do is I'm going to attach my new color to the old one. And notice too, I waited until I was at the end of the side here. So that way it's not going to, because we are not slip stitching, we're working in the round. Just like in this bag, I kind of just let the colors go when they were. So you can kind of see where it joins in. So what I'm doing in this bag is I'm waiting until I get to the side here. So that's why I chose this spot. And now I'm going to tie my aqua color to my yellow, and then I am just going to pull. There we go, and now it's nice and secure. My new color is there, and now I'm just going to make sure to snip off these ends, and I want to cut them nice and close. Okay, and again, don't worry, these knots are not going anywhere. Oops. There we go. There we have it. So now I'm just going to continue on and work my half double crochet as usual. Oops. And continue on from there. And now I'm going to continue on. So I'm going to go on now and work another 12 rows of half double crochets in this nice golden yellow here. And remember, we are not slip stitching at the end of each round. We are working in the round in a, I guess we would call that in a spiral. So this way there are no seams at the end of it all. And once we've done 12 more rows, we will then start working our handle, which will start with a row of double crochet stitches. But once we get there, I will talk you through that. So for now, you're getting lots of practice on doing your half double crochet. Okay, I've come to the end of my 12th row here. And so my bag is really taking shape. I've added just a little embellishment there. It's just experimenting with some little add-ons there. So it is the height that I want it. So now what we want to do is start creating the little eyelets here so that you can put a sash through to cinch it shut. So because we've been working in the spiral round, we've got this situation happening here. So what we're going to do is we are just going to slip stitch into the next stitch. And that usually helps to kind of solidify the rows together. Now it is still quite obvious right now, but as we go into the next row, it'll blend in a bit more. So we are now going to do a rows of double crochets. And this first double crochet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain one, and then I will double crochet back into the same stitch. So I'll pull through two there, and I'll pull through two. So it's starting to blend in a little bit more, and as I do more double crochets, this will kind of disappear here. So what we want to do is we actually want to double crochet 3 stitches side by side and then leave a gap of 2. So this counts as 1. So we will double crochet into the next stitch, and then we'll double crochet into the next stitch. So here we have our 3 double crochets, and don't worry that this one is a little bit kind of slanted. When we come back around, that's going to blend in. Next, we are going to chain 2. Then we will skip the next 2 stitches, and into the 3rd stitch, we will double crochet 3 stitches in a row, just like we did at the beginning. So that's 1. This is number 2. And here is number 3. So you can see that's already created an opening here. Okay, so I'll do it one more time with you. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We will skip 2, 1, 2, and into the 3rd stitch, we will do a double crochet and then 2 more double crochets after that. There's 1. There's 2. And there is 3. Okay, so there you have it. So we're creating our eyelets all the way around. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and I will meet you when we're about ready to join. Okay, and we're coming up to the end of this round now. So you can see we slip stitched there from the spiral round, and we are going to come here and do our chain 2. And now we're just going to slip stitch into the top of that initial chain 1 double crochet. So there we have it. So you see it just kind of blends in, and now you're back to regular rounds with a slip stitch. So we've done our 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and that's going to be for our lace to go through there. Now we're going to do a row of half double crochets again, just to solidify the top of this row. So to do that, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to half double crochet into the same stitch. And the reason why we do that is it just kind of fattens up this stitch and creates a solidified, more of a solidified join, gives it a little bit more strength. So now we just continue, yarn over, insert, pull through all three. So remember, different than the double crochet where we pull through twice. In the half double, when you yarn over, you'll pull through all three. So again, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. 3 loops are on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. And you can see the difference in the height of a half double crochet compared to a double. Now we're coming up to the chain 2 space, and what we're going to do is we're simply going to work into this space. 2 half double crochets. So you will yarn over, insert your hook into the space, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, we'll do one more. Yarn over, insert your hook into the space, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And that's going to be your formula for this round. You're going to half double crochet into each of the top of the 3 double crochets. Into the chain space, you're going to half double crochet twice. Then when you come up here, we go back into the tops of the double crochet, and make sure that you pull your work apart a little bit like this if you need to see that top stitch, because sometimes it gets a little bit snug and hidden here. So we will do a half double crochet, 1 into each of the next 3 stitches, and then in the chain 2 space we will half double crochet 2 times. Okay, so you can see that it's just kind of solidifying around our little eyelets there. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and I will meet you back to the top when we're slip stitching, and then we are going to discuss making our handle. Okay, meet you on the other side. Okay, I'm now coming around to the end of my half double crochet row, and so when I come around to the end here, I'm in my last chain space, and I am going to put the last 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and then I am going to slip stitch to the top of this stitch here. Now it can be a little fiddly, and there we go. So now I'm back to crocheting into the joined rounds as opposed to the spiral. So keep in mind we should have 76 stitches all the way around, and this is going to be extra important now that we're going to work on the handle. Now, because we worked in the spiral, if you end up having 75 stitches or 77 stitches, it's not the end of the world, because this will all work out once we get further into it. But I have 76 stitches in total, so that means that I will have 38 stitches on each side of the bag. So you're just going to have to work out a little math here, because now we're going to form the handles. Okay, so we are going to continue on by half double crocheting into each of the next 13 stitches across. Okay, so I will begin by chaining 1, and right back into the same space I'm going to half double crochet. Now some people would chain 2 and move on, but because I just want to fill that gap in nicely, I'm doing it into the same stitch. Okay, so that counts as 1, and the next one is 2, and I'm going to continue on to do a total of 13 stitches. So I will meet you when you're done the 13. Remember that it's to yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, and I'm doing my 13th half double crochet. Okay, so this is the first edge of the bag here. Now what's going to happen is we are going to chain 12. Okay, so you're going to have 13 stitches on this side and then a chain 12. This is going to create the gap for our handle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Once you have your 12, we want to count 12 stitches over. Okay, so we want to make sure that we start in the very next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And into this 13th stitch, we are going to crochet a half double crochet into that 13th stitch. So we yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And so this solidifies our handle, or it solidifies the opening of our handle. Now, this half double crochet counts as the first of our next set of 13. Okay, and in fact, we're going to do a set of 26, because if we have 13 on this side and then we come around the bend, 13 on that side, that's going to give us a total of 26. So just to work out the math here, to solidify it, I have a total of 76 stitches all the way around. So that means that I have 38 stitches on each side. So 38 stitches here, 38 stitches here. So what I've done is I've done a half double crochet for 13 stitches from the edge to the center, chained 12, and I'm going to do another 13 stitches to the end. This will center my handle and create the gap. As I come around the bend here, once I finish my 13 half double crochets, I will continue with another 13 half double crochets to get to the center of the other side. So technically you will half double crochet 26 in total. You will then chain 12 again, skip these 12 stitches, and do your last 13 half double crochets, and it should take you back around to where we began. Okay, so I'll just do a few again with you, nice and easy. So now I'm going to do the next 13 of this side, or you can just go ahead and count them all as 26. So we will yarn over, find the next stitch, insert, yarn over, pull through. 3 loops will be on your hook. You will yarn over and pull through all 3. And we'll do that again. Insert, to pull through 3 loops, and in a half double crochet we're going to pull through all 3 loops and into the next stitch, and the same thing going all the way around for a full total of 26 stitches. That's going to give you 13 on each side. So you can see now that there is a definite opening here. So go ahead and finish off these next 26 stitches, and I'll meet you when we're ready to do our second handle. Okay, I've done my 26 half double crochets, and so you can see that it sits perfectly matching the previous side. So there was 13 and then 13, and now I'm back around to the center of my next side. So I will go ahead and chain 12 just like I did here to create the base of my handle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so 12 chains. I am now going to skip the next 12 stitches and half double crochet into the 13th stitch. So identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and into the 13th stitch I'm going to do a half double crochet. So I will yarn over, insert into that 13th stitch, pull through, and pull through all 3 of those loops. There we go. And there's your next opening. And now I will continue to half double crochet all the way around. So this should be my final 13 stitches, and that will take me back to the beginning of this round. And then I just want to slip stitch into that first stitch there. So go ahead and finish your 13 half double crochets, and we will talk about the next round in a moment. Okay, so I've slip stitched into my last stitch here, and in fact I noticed that I somewhere had dropped a stitch somewhere. I was short one, and the reason why I'm bringing this to light is because it happens. We miss one, we add one. This is real life. It's the reality of crochet. I don't want to claim to always have the perfect formula. So this ended up being 12 stitches, and I slip stitched to the top. It still looks perfectly fine. So you can see the handles are falling right next to where they need to be. Okay, so we're going to go into the final round now, and that is to solidify our handle. Because these are just, they need a bit of reinforcement, a little bit more strength. In fact, you could do 2 more rows if you want to. Absolutely, you can do it any way you like. I chose to just do 1, and for me, I found that these work just fine. Some people may choose to do another round, and that is completely up to you. That is the beauty of designing your own look. So we're at the beginning of a new round, and we're going to chain 1 and half double crochet into the base of that same stitch. Whoops, I have to make sure I yarn over first. So yarn over, and so now all we are doing is we are doing a half double crochet into each and every single stitch all the way around. So this is considered like our finishing row, our finishing round. And it's just going to give it a nice little solidification here. And then we will continue on once we get to our handle opening. The formula will continue on with the half double crochet, but you will go into the spaces. So I'm just coming up here to my last half double crochet, and now we're going into the handle here. Now, because we changed 12, some people might think that we're just simply going to chain 12, we're going to simply crochet 12 half double crochets into the space. However, when you chain, it's a much tighter stitch than if you're doing the half double crochets, and you've got more looseness here with the space. So you're actually going to have room for a total of 20 half double crochets. And in fact, in this handle, I did 20, but I really could have done 21 because there is still a tiny bit of a gap here. So let's do 20 half double crochets into this space, and you will just work them as usual. The difference is you're going into the space to pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And you can see that these stitches can be shifted over to be snugly next to this one. And you're going to continue all the way up and around through this chain here. Okay, so right now I'm going to say let's start off with crocheting 20 half double crochets into the space. I have a funny feeling we'll most likely do 21 just to make them all nice and snug. So as you can see, this is building up nicely, and in general I'm keeping them fairly snugly together, and you can always pull them closer there. Okay, so go ahead and do the rest of your half double crochets all the way around till you get to the end of your handle on this side. Okay, so I'm at the end of my handle here, and 20 sits nicely, no problemo. I think, however, I am going to do that 21st just to fill in this teeny tiny little gap. So I'm going to do one more half double crochet just to really solidify the space here. So I have done 21 half double crochets into the space, and now I'm going to half double crochet right into this stitch here, the first one. And for me, I like how that sits. It snuggles right next to it, and it makes the handle nice and solid there. So 21 half double crochets is what I did. And now I'm just going to continue on and half double crochet into each and every single stitch all the way around until I get to the next handle here. Okay, guys, so I've half double crocheted here, and now I'm going to continue all the way around until I get to my next handle. I'm going to half double crochet 21 times into this space and then pick it back up here. Now remember, this is the first stitch after the chain space. Okay, so don't skip that one, go right in there. And then you're going to continue to half double crochet all the way to the end. You will slip stitch here and fasten off. We're so close. So go ahead and finish off the other side of your handle, and I will meet you at the very end. Okay, so I have finished my last row with my handle. I've come to my last stitch. Now I've snipped off my yarn, and I haven't finished the last stitch. Most people would do a slip stitch to fasten off, and then they would weave in their ends. But for a project like this, because it's on the top row here of the handle where it's really visible, I want to do the invisible join here. So I've snipped off my yarn, and I'm actually just going to pull this right through the stitch here. Okay, and then I'm going to get my yarn needle, and I'm just going to insert there. And so now what I want to do is I want to find the top of that stitch that I was going to slip stitch into, which is this one here. And I am going to just insert my yarn needle right under the top two loops there. Okay, so I pull that through, and I just pull it in a bit, nice and snug. And now, whoops, and now I'm going to go into the top of this stitch here that we just came out of. So see how this comes out of here? So I'm going to go into the top and out the bottom here. Okay, so I pull through like that, and when I pull it a little bit snug, see, you can't even tell where it ends and where it begins, and that's why we call it the invisible join. So it just makes for a really nice finish to your work. Very seamless. Now on the other side, I want to make sure that I secure this down. So what I'll do is I'll start to weave it into the bottom of the next stitch here. And I just want to maintain my tension so that it doesn't tighten or loosen too much. And then I will just kind of insert underneath, whoops, just to solidify my work here. There we go. So still looking pretty good on the other side. So then I'm just going to hide my little tail in the back here, and I'll just weave this in back and forth just to kind of hide it. I might even snake it through down the middle here on these stitches, and then I'm just going to snip off my yarn, and then I will be ready to add a ribbon here. Okay, so here we have it. Our shoe bag is complete. I've done a little experimented with a little embellishment here with some stick-on rhinestones that I have glued with, they were stick-ons, but I used fabric glue to make sure that they stay in place. And you can do as many or as little as you like. I just thought it was kind of a cute little add-on. So this bag has a bit of gray at the bottom, some turquoise, and yellow. So you can choose whatever color ribbon you would like to do. You can even crochet your ribbon to go through here. I myself really liked the effect that this bag had with the satin. This was just a satin sash I had lying around, but people just really loved it when they saw it. And I like the idea of the contrasting color matching up to here. Now, I would have liked to find a sash that was actually this aqua color, but I just haven't been able to come across it yet. I do have a black color, but I just find it's gonna, I feel it's a bit, because this is gray, I feel like the black would be too much of a contrast. So I have found some yellow ribbon here. And in fact, this is what we call blanket binding. You know, sometimes on fleece blankets or chenille, they have this little kind of a satin edge. So this is what this is, and I just love this because it's nice and thick. It actually feels like fabric, and it's already got a nice kind of clean edge. You can certainly go to the craft store and buy regular ribbon, but I just really like the consistency of this. It just feels a little bit sturdier. So I have found it in yellow, so I thought I would kind of go with the yellow theme at the top. Now I have gone ahead and I've cut approximately about 48 inches of length here. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to find the center. So these two holes here, I would say, are fairly centered to the handle. And I'm just going to start feeding this through. So I poke it through the back, and then I poke it back through the front, and I just weave it in. And don't worry too much about making this overly pretty. It's going to get twisted as you go. So, and it'll get used and pulled and tightened. So just kind of weave it in as best you can, in and out, and go all the way around your bag. I'm so excited this is coming out. I like how this is coming out. And you're just gonna, you know, maybe be careful not to make it too twisted as you go, but just you're poking it in, and then you're poking it out of each of these openings. And you might want to just pull this along so that it evens out. Okay. And continue. And I'm doing this with a shoe bag, but you could do this with any kind of bag. Like maybe you want to do, for Christmas, you want to do cloth gift bags. This is another way you can give a gift, especially with this cinch at the top. You can tie up the bow. It'll come out really, really pretty. So all kinds of things you can do with this type of design. I just happen to be using this for a shoe bag. Look at that. So we're back around to the center here, and I have one more left. And actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that through and then have it come back out this way here. Now, I could also, just because I wanted them both coming out of the same way, I could have, so you can cinch it in like that. Because see, when you open this up, so it looks a bit uneven. But when you cinch it together and tie up your bow, it doesn't really matter actually. And then you've got your handles here. and you are ready to rock. Okay. And there you have your fancy shoe bag. Just love that. Now, if you really are particular about the evenness of it, you just have to count over here the openings. So see how I brought this through? Now, if you want to, you could just leave this middle one open, and then both of the sashes are coming down this way. Whoops. Keep them with this one empty. And I mean, it's still the same thing. You can cinch it shut. And by the time you do your little bow, it doesn't really matter. And you have this really pretty bow here. And you are ready to take your shoes on a little hike to the dance floor. So there you have it, gang. This is the shoe bag. I hope you have enjoyed making this particular project. I'm really interested in seeing how creative you guys are getting with the different colors you choose, and maybe for the different size bags you're going to do it for. I am so excited, and I look forward to seeing all of your creations. If you like these tutorials, or even like to check out some of our stitch session conversations and want to stay up to date, make sure to subscribe and click the notification button so you can stay up to date on all of our latest uploads. In the meantime, happy crocheting, everyone. Have a great day.